Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the Legends of Takaful, a podcast series proudly put together by actuarial partners celebrating 40 years of Takaful in Malaysia. So, who is a legend? It's easy to look back and see who is a legend, as hindsight is 2020. But what about the current leaders in Takaful? Who will be the legends of tomorrow? In this series, we'll sit down and have a conversation with pioneers and founders of Takaful in Malaysia. People who truly shaped the industry, going beyond the numbers and finding out what really inspired them, their challenges and struggles, as well as their insights. We truly hope that this will both help drive Takaful forward for the next 40 years, as well as assist countries in just starting out with Takaful. In the first 10 years of Takaful, there was only one operator, Syarikat Takaful Malaysia, or STM. Anyone entering the STM office during those days knew things were done differently. The first time I went to a meeting with the CEO there, Dato' Fazli, I even remember having to take my shoes off at the entrance of the floor. They had a monopoly at that time, and they focused on establishing a presence, rather than having the cheapest rates and fierce competition. Back then, the loss ratios for motor business were noticeably better than conventional insurance, which was surprising due to the small size of STM, and the need to be large and strong enough to control the workshops. STM used Bank Islam branches as the main distribution source. The second entrant was Takaful National, or TN, the Takaful operations of the national insurer MNI. TN is now Etika and focused on agency force distribution during those days. Those days we had heavy debates on whether it was acceptable to have agents selling Takaful, promoting actually, as how the model would work, as until that point we used a Mudaraba model, with the operator paying most expenses out of surplus sharing, which occurs at the end of the year. Several years later, Maybank obtained a Takaful license, and TN eventually combined with Maybank Takaful to give rise to Etika, which had a full lineup of agency and bancassurance distribution channels for Takaful, as well as conventional insurance. During the same time, the first re-Takaful operator in Malaysia started, Ariel. So whereas the first operator relied on bank branches, and the second operator relied on its existing agency force infrastructure, Takaful Ikhlas, starting 10 years after TN, had to start from scratch. This led the CEO, Datuk Said Mohib, to drive a number of innovative solutions, including bringing the Wakala model over from the Middle East. This represents roughly the halfway point so far of the Takaful journey in Malaysia. Several years later, the era of the multinationals in Takaful began, with a range of global insurers and reinsurers recognizing the potential of this market. Prudential in particular brought synergy to its products, creating Takaful equivalents of its conventional insurance products, especially unit-linked plans. This was also the time that Bank Negara really strengthened the regulatory focus on Takaful through JPIT. Regulations were held fairly consistent between Takaful and conventional insurance, with the goal of creating a level playing field. Today, Takaful is at a crossroads in Malaysia. Although we've come a long way, we still have a long way to go to rival conventional insurance in Malaysia. Will Takaful focus on consistency with conventional insurance? Or will there be increasing innovation in the models used as well as market segments focused on? Will we be able to use Takaful to increase insurance penetration in Malaysia, especially underserved markets? Insurance in any form is about managing risks and building trust. Takaful can truly be key in many market segments in building this trust and forming the foundation of a population that understands its risks and how to manage them. This is the foundation of true financial literacy, which must be a goal for the next 40 years. Actuarial Partners has been involved since the beginning of Takaful in Malaysia and has been involved in some way with all the Takaful operators here. We truly hope that this podcast series is useful and the next 40 years of Takaful development is equally exciting. Malaysia boleh. Okay. Round one was amazing. Now round two is Datuk Said Mohib is the moderator for this next session. We're going to be talking about distribution issues and whatnot. And over to you, Datuk.
And this session will discuss distribution, and we'll go both through what has happened in the past and the way forward as well. Hopefully there are lessons that we can gain from Malaysia's past Takaful journey, which itself is a testament to the remarkable synergy between the adept regulatory foresight and the diligent execution by Takaful companies. The success actually highlights the strategic innovation, the unwavering commitment prevailing across the sector, and as we saw earlier, the pioneering spirit of the early companies started the ball rolling. And I'm quite sure that that spirit has not ebbed over the years. Whilst we have achieved a significant milestone in development and implementation, which are commendable, it is also very important for us to acknowledge that there are areas that require or needs to be heightened, that needs to be improved, that needs to be paid attention to, including improving penetration rates and addressing the underserved communities. This panel session serves as an invaluable opportunity to reflect on past victories and lessons learned, and it is hoped that there will be questions from the floor. Unlike the earlier session, please do not wait till the end before you have questions. I will stop after every panelist have given their views, given their inputs to my questions, and I will ask questions from the floor as well. So please do pick the brains of these experts that we have on the stage. I would try to get out to the panelists some candid views of what strategies could have been approached differently, and hopefully we have a constructive dialogue on how the industry, the Takaful industry, can evolve to better meet all the needs of all segments of the population, not just the current traditional markets, but also the new markets, the underserved markets, the unserved markets as well. And by harnessing both our successes and challenges as learning platforms, we hope that we can do better to chart a better future. As we know, MTA has released their strategic plan for the next 3 years, the Hijrah 2027, and certainly we are at the threshold of some transformational changes with new collaboration, new innovation that will serve the industry. And it is hoped that at the end of this session, before we go for lunch, there'll be some learning points, and those learning points, as what was put in the brochure, is a core of, we need to at least articulate, we need to be able to articulate what are the core enablers for building a successful Takaful distribution force. And by distribution force, I mean both the traditional and new channels, for the old markets and the new markets as well. Mindful that what has got us here does not guarantee that will get us to the future. So the panelists do not need any more introduction. I was hoping that they would be sitting according to the lineup over here, but they're not. So you can see that Asri has volunteered to be the first hit on the chopping block, right? Asri, all right. So and certainly I'm going to tell you that my questions are not going to be easy. Tadi before whilst Dato' Fadli was rounding up, I just sent the question to them. And Azman kata, alamak, ayo, this is like getting the actuarial questions just before the exam, and suddenly, he froze. So anyway, first question, here's how it goes. What have been the critical, and this is open to everyone, right? Please jump in, please fight for the mic. if you have got something to interject. What have been the critical success factors in developing productive and successful distribution channels in the past, recognizing there are different channels, each with their own nuances? What are the gaps in the ecosystem, and how would this overcome? I mean, please share from your personal experience. So basically, we are looking at what has been right in the past. I mean, what are the critical success factors, what has been right, and what were the gaps?
Thank you. Yang berbahagia Datuk, the colleague speakers, and a few gurus on the floor and all the audience. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Yeah, I'm a bit victimized as I'm supposed to sit there, but anyway, yeah, the more senior push me closer to the moderator. Anyway, let's go to the question. I think it's very key for the Takaful to be at where we are now. We need to understand that we have gone through a few phases. So the first 10 years, if I can remember, because I joined industry in 1998. The industry started 84. It was about probably 16 years. So I still remember at that point, there was the transition where the first phase of the industry, I would say 10 years, because 10 years only single company has existed at that point in time. Then the next 10 years, second company, so I joined the second company. There was still a debate about whether the first company did something right or not, whether the first company should be doing the same thing like the second company. Then the other side of the coin says that the second company deviated and probably tried to implement something which is not aligned with the principle. So why I mentioned that point, I think the success factor, I believe we need to be innovative. So if not because of that innovation, I think that transition to diversify the way we model the business and the way we model the delivery of the business to the people on the ground probably will not be at where we are. So I can remember that at that point, I think largely the business was mainly from government program. For example, the housing. That during that time, I think it was called SPPA. That was the largest business, which is more of like takafulizing the original scheme that was introduced on conventional platform years before that. So when the second company came, I think the second company introduced the wakala, a bit more aggressive than the first company, to my understanding from what I personally observed. Hence, a lot of migration among the agents who used to be in conventional to join as agents of the second company to sell the Takaful product of the second company, where the first company didn't have that. So that push up the ability to reach out to the next level, rather than just continue to depend on banks, and also because at that point in time, the Islamic bank was also very small in numbers, and the ability to reach out and also offer the product that became the door opener for people to choose for Islamic banking product at that time was also not like now. So with that transition from the first model of the product, first model of distributing the product via the collaboration with the banks and the government-initiated programs, then I think 2000, after year 2000 and a bit later, the development of the agency channel became very significant. The second company managed to attract the agents from conventional to join, then it boom and boosts the ability to reach out. The delivery of the product to the people from the deeper, I would say deeper level. But anyway, yes, so from the dependency, huge dependency on the banks and the government-initiated programs, i.e. through SPPA, one of it. Of course, not only that, we have other GLCs who are also, even until now, very, very significant in terms of their contribution to enable the company to reach out. But agency came, then I think more and more companies continue to initiate and invent a more refined ways to approach the target customers. So what probably I see the biggest channel, even until today, the dependency on the banks as the organization remains the reality of the Takaful industry, even after 40 years. But we are at the same time happy to see that for the segment of the product that requires advice, the promotion, explanation, illustration, or advisory product, we term it in the industry, I would say that the agency has managed to emerge from the beginning that was after the second company came in to the level where it contributes to be the second in terms of the size of the new business year on year. But whether that is something we want to continue to see in the next 40 years, I believe all the captains of the Takaful operators will say no. We want to go faster, bigger, and even more effective in terms of bringing in more people, because the penetration rate remains at 20% after 40 years. So I think another success factors which will actually be the game changer is actually to increase the effectiveness of the modern channel, where we have lesser dependencies on the organization and also the agents, but with more efficient way of delivering the products to the customers and simplifying the services. So that will be very key, where now many companies call it the digital channel. But the challenge of digital channel, I would say, still be on the point of the awareness among the target customers are low. So there is no one suddenly wake up in the morning and decide that they want to look for Takaful, or similar, I believe, for insurance as well. So there is a need for us to have a point to trigger the customer to feel that they need that product. Hence, banker, agency, and the affinity will still be the game moving forward, but with a lot more modernization. That will bring us to the next level of the success. Thanks, Dr.
Okay, before passing the mic to Azam, just want to correct some factual inaccuracy there. Takaful Malaysia started off with the Mudarabah model. Takaful National was a hybrid Mudarabah. Maybank Takaful pun was actually a Mudarabah as well, but hybrid as well. And later on, only they switched. The first company, Wakalah, was Takaful Ikhlas. So it was quite a challenge, because the central bank had a concept, and we had to actualize that concept. And of course, it was like building a house without an architect's plan, right? But alhamdulillah, like what Dato' Fazli was saying just now, is the pioneering spirit says do or die. So well, it's still, Takaful Ikhlas is still around today, so they didn't die lah. So please. But they made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, sorry for that. But anyway, probably I qualify. Maybe from the year I joined 98 already, the discussion was there.
I forgot to mention that on this table, You have 130 years of Takaful experience here, right? If you look at my head, you will know that, who is the oldest lah.
Right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah, I mean the factual tu dah tu, yang model ni. Actually, I was the branch manager back then, Takaful National. You see, funny thing about this model, the agents still back then, arguing about siapa lebih Islamic. This is funny thing, right? But it's Takaful lah. Yang ni Tuan Jatuh cakap lah, oh, we are the first wakalah model. Mudarabah ni tak bagus. Yang buat mudarabah saja, yang hybrid ni tak betul, tak cukup Islamic. That kind of.
We never say that.
Memang betul. You not, but the agent have that perception. You see, so remember we cannot control the agency, right? So maybe we'll deliberate a bit further later on. We talk about the channel of the business later on, on this part. But actually, that's the challenge. When we started Takaful. But having said that, if you make a reference to earlier topic that the panel talk about, the willpower of the stakeholders, very important. First, the government. So we thank government, of Malaysia make the Islamic as a main agenda back in, I think, early 2000, the first financial master plan, where, after certain period of time, the bank must have about 30%, if I'm not mistaken, Islamic assets, So that helped the business, right? Of course, we talk about the credit related, which is loans related product, but helps bring the stability and all the company that starting to have the good business before they go to the next different business altogether, right? And of course, the second stakeholders will be the shareholders, lah, right? This is very important. Whether we like it or not, some perspective of spiritual need to be there, because the reality is that I'm not sure, maybe Azman can talk about it lah, dia actual background, lagi banyak experience kan on this, but it looks like if you put the money in convenience RM1 and put the Takaful RM1, you probably have more profit in the conventional, right? Kalau shareholders don't have that spiritual, it's going to be very difficult. Why I want to invest the company have a lesser profit, right? Okay, I want to talk about a bit more on Bangka, on the distribution channel, Dato', because throughout my experience, 25 years in Takaful, and kalau campur bukan Takaful is about 27 years lah, all in together. The change in the dependency in the credit related to the non-credit, actually bring a different perspective altogether, in this Takaful industry. Of course, we started with all credit related, macam all the loans, right? Housing loan, personal loan, right? And it started with what Asri cakap, government punya housing loan, they convert into the Islamic loan. So first two companies enjoy the benefits out of it, right? And of course, when the other banks come up with the loans and everything, and back then, one of the banks that having a personal loan sampai 25 tahun, that's sounds crazy, right? But Takaful company enjoy the benefits, because of the direction of the government, right? And then the industry changed, we wanted to look into how can we sell non-credit, which is in this context, the regular contribution, advisory product, the industry always said, but some of the bank don't like to call it advisory because this is different in a connotation altogether, because required, as an advisor, a different license and all together, right? But I believe all of you understand, about this context of non-credit business. This is where the challenge start coming in, right? In two parts, because whether we like it or not, if the bank having both license, Islamic and conventional, the RMs, the sellers selling both Islamic and conventional product. In the context of insurance, they can sell both insurance and Takaful, right? In my personal experience, early days on this, the RMs, why they don't want to sell Takaful? Because of they worried. The customer will ask about what is Mudarabah? What is, tabaruk, right? What is this, right? Wakalah. So they try to avoid that kind of question. They might as well they propose conventional. It's easier for them, right? So that terminology itself, when we really at the beginning of the years promoting that rather than the proposition, we talk about the tabaruk lah, all those kind of thing, right? So the RMs, be it the Islamic RMs or even worse for the non-Islamic RMs, right? They would rather sell insurance. So it's easier for them, because that will attract the unnecessary question coming from the potential customers, okay, right? And of course, we try to evolve, change that, with different perspective, try to change it into the more simplified proposition, right? Focus on retirement, for instance, right? Some of the banks successfully sell Takaful product because of this strong proposition. Talk about retirement only, the purpose of it, right? But after a while, when the customer or even the RMs look into the product, it's always a challenge for Takaful to compete with the conventional product because they started giving the guarantees of the product, conventional. Takaful cannot, right? On some returns, right? Guarantees, But this is the features of the product that always targeted into the high-end customer in particular, right? So, and then if you look into the specific rates, for instance, right? So, whether we like it or not, Takaful rate may be more expensive than conventional, right? For some reason. Even when I'm bringing up to my chairman, the bank chairman group, I informed that the challenge that we are facing, he questioned, he cannot understand why. Because he said that in the bank, whether you're Islamic or conventional, they can give the same rate, the same interest rate, right? Or, but Takaful, why Takaful cannot do that, right? So that is where you come to the Takaful punya issue lah and everything. Then it diluted lah. I mean, you cannot convince the person. So the challenge is that, right? So the context of the challenge that we see, one, the perspective of the seller itself, the acceptance of it, and then second is the product, right? So this is something that I think, over the years, for the past maybe, after 10 years of that, maybe the last 5 years, so the proposition come in very strong. We talk about the wakaf, we talk about the hibah, maybe we can, elaborate a bit in the next round of discussion. Yeah.
I mean, kalau you main digital games, just when you think that you have seen the pattern, then the game will throw in something to change the pattern. So I'm going to change that pattern for Azman sikit. Catch him off guard. Yeah. So just in addition to what I asked just now, currently most of housing financing is an annual renewable basis, kan? Whereas the financing itself is long term. Do you think that there should also be long-term Takaful to support the bank punya financing tu?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dato' always give me the hardest question. I thought I was safe just now because the first two speakers have already spoken. I think you talk about distribution channel, right? My view is very simple. The success factor, you can't speak, about distribution channel in isolation. You got to take into account the other factor, what makes it happen. I mean, you talk about just now whether we should take a long-term view or short-term view. It goes back to the maybe I'm influenced by a lot of actuarial principle, right? At the end of the day, whether the company has the ability to manage the risk. I think in the past, maybe the first 10 years or 20 years of Takaful, the challenges were a lot on product design, product management. We did not have at that time the right skill. Okay, so if you ask me, Dato', yes, bank has all these mortgages, all these loans, financing. These are the easy ones, actually. These are the easy ones. But I think the hard ones will be, I think my chairman just now spoke about medical. The real challenge that goes into our society today about Takaful is about, one is affordability. Okay. Second is can we manage the risk? Okay, because it all ties back to the capability of distribution channel. You cannot simply sell products if you cannot manage the risk. You see, and then today we talk about medical, then we talk about aging population. You know, these are the real things happening today. So the question that we should be asking ourselves today, do we have the solutions for that? Do we have? And sadly to say, I don't think we have. You know, today what we are seeing, I'm sorry to say, I mean, I came from agency, I'm so lucky. I got exposure in agency, banker, and other channels as well. But you can see what market is doing today is just recycling the customers, the products. It's like one size fits all. It doesn't work that way, you know. So I don't know whether whether I've answered your question, Dato', you know.
So what you are saying is that current needs is quite different now. The ability to customize requires not just skill set, but also the optimum use of technology as well. And that's not happening. But we'll come to that, because I've got a fourth question on that, and I don't want to, you know, I want to give more time for the panels to think about it. But it's very interesting. What we have heard just now, some of the known critical success factors, this industry has been regulatory driven, the pioneering spirit of the shareholders with equally passionate about the spiritual aspects as well, the professional distribution that is needed, excellent back end, and Azman just introduced something which is quite novel, in that whether or not companies must have the capacity to manage risk and have the right skills to be doing that as well. So thank you very much. So that's the first round, and rather than wait till the end, before we are told that we don't have time for questions, I open to the floor if you have any comments or questions to put to the panel. Right at the back. I like your hair. Jealous.
This is a question to all the three panels, even the moderator,
Your,
if you wish.
sorry, name please.
My name is Fazil from Agrobank.
Thank you.
The question is, we talk so much about how to reach out to the customers vis-a-vis Takaful against conventional product. But even if you have to focus only on conventional product, not just Takaful, coming from Agrobank, I can say that the penetration rate for the agriculture community is still low. For example, there are 11% of total workforce in the agriculture segment. There's about 1.7 million farmers. So the question is, how do we reach out to this group of society, segment of society, given that quite a number of them actually belong to the underserved and the unserved market? That's all.
The Pegun panelists. You are, of course, referring to a very specific niche area, which is agriculture, or rather crop insurance for farmers, right? And the farmers has always been left out from the Takaful punya eyesight lah, and mainly because I think in the first place, the subject itself, the product itself, is very is a specialist class, and pricing it is difficult. I'm very happy that Swiss Re is able to provide or to overcome the pricing challenges, but I know that they would not be very happy with whatever rate that they have developed because of the lack of data. For your information, this initiative actually started in 2004, right? And there was a discussion amongst the Takaful operators organized by the central bank with Bernas. And the broker then remained, I can't remember. But anyway, it did not take off. After everything was laid out, it did not take off for two reasons. Because that was supposed to be a voluntary, was to be a compulsory scheme, a mandatory scheme, covering all Bernas punya registrants, those under Bernas, and and who pays the premium? It was the government. But the government would only or they came up by saying that they're only prepared to pay up to X percentage of the tabung bencana negara, right? So that there's a cap to what they can pay. And then they also said that they can only pay for 3 years. Right? They can only pay for 3 years. And that basically put a big roadblock to that scheme. The sustainability of that wasn't there, and there was no certainty, there was no guarantee that that scheme would continue beyond that through voluntary participation of the farmers. So firstly, I think the biggest challenge is not so much about education, but it's also about affordability of the premium. And one of the things which is being looked at by some sectors of the industry is how to introduce social takaful into this kind of schemes. My friend Ravinder here will be able to, please look out for Ravinder, and he can share with you some ideas on social takaful. And I think your question is best addressed through social takaful, which is basically continuing with sponsorship in the whole scheme, right? So we can take it offline because it's a very long question, and the panelists here are very eager to answer the second question.
Dato, if you allow me to extend that question just for 30 seconds each. For the current CEOs, yes. If you had to enter a new target segment that your current business is not involved in, let's say, because we talk about the underserved, right? The underserved is not just one group of people, it's all different subsegments. If you had a segment of the population where they're used to government handouts, it's a very hard segment to target. If your company was going to be getting involved, how would you change? How would you change your model? Or just 30 seconds, not meant to be long.
Okay. Probably I start trying to be as direct as possible. But again, I think it's very much on the ability to reach out to the target segment with the right cost and also with the right size of the business. Because when we are talking about efforts to actually offer something like that, it will be dependent on the capacity. But to build capacity, you need certain size. So it's interlocking or interdependent one another, the ability to reach and also the size. Hence, I would think one of the solution which we have been trying, even though I'm not exactly on the segment which is niche like crop just now, because I'm in the company I'm in now focusing on family. But I think the issue of the ability to reach out effectively at the right cost will translate into a much more affordable product for that segment to respond to it. So among the efforts, I think we have been trying to collaborate with the organization that already has trust and connection with the people, particularly people that falls under that category. So for example, we have been working with the Majlis Agama, the Yayasan Wakaf, and also the organization that has large number of people as a mean to simplify the distribution. Hence, we bring those people in that segment easily into the plan which is affordable for that segment itself. I think, yeah, I leave it to my colleague to also add on.
Yeah, we look into the not covering the things that they are doing. We're looking to the individual itself. We're looking to the individual, the farmers, or even the fishermen for that matters, right? The sustainability that Datuk mentioned about just now, I mean the government tried to come up with the millions of ringgit, per, every year. It's not sustainable. So the only thing that we need to look at now actually change the product, the model, the way we make the product, so that it's more sustainable. Otherwise, if we keep on, government keep on giving the money to provide the protection, it's not going to be sustainable. So we need to change the whole things. Yeah.
I just want to echo what Dato said, about social insurance, right? I think the mechanism is there. We need to pool the resources, we need to pool the risk together as an industry rather than individual company. And the thing is, like, you look at the orphan surplus, the size of orphan surplus in the market, each individual company, if you just pool it. If you talk about how do you price for it, at the end of the day, you need something to support, right? And from industry perspective, we've been around 40 years. I'm very sure there are companies with orphan surpluses, a lot of things that can be pulled together. And even now, Bank Negara allows that. The ta'awun model, for example. We got to explore beyond what we do today. Like I said, I go back to my earlier comments about industry. We are recycling the thinking, so the way we design products, all that stuff. So, but then we got to extend the concept of risk today. At the end of the day, the word tabarong is tolong menolong, helping one another. So you got to go beyond the normal risk fund punya mandate. And I'm very certain, very certain that if we pool the orphan surplus or those charities, zakat money, you can do it.
So, Brother Hassan, if I can summarize the three answers, I see 4 points there. One is target affinity groups. Two is use, or rather optimize technology. 3 is cross-sell and upsell after launching the first products. And 4, as what I could get from Azman just now, is industry collaboration, some form of pooling of resources. So perhaps if all that can be put into serving the unserved and underserved, certainly we could see more success there. So any other questions? If none, then we'll go into the second one. And this is technology-based, and I'm quite sure the audience from Policy Street and Athens should have some questions after this. I'm actually telling them, be ready with some questions, please. Okay, Azman already scratching his head. Alamak, aku lagi kena. Okay. 10 years after starting out with new technologies, if you can turn the clock, how would you do things differently? How has technology changed your focus and strategies, especially in reaching out to previously unserved and underserved segments of the market? Actually, Hassan already, jumped the gun today. Would you like to take first bite? Okay, we start from the other end now.
Right. How do I see? I mean, if you can turn back the clock. I always go back to the processes, right? I think all of us in the industry, it takes 6 months to 1 year to develop one product or even to launch one product. Forget about motor. Motor is very simple lah. When it comes to life, 6 months to 1 year. With the current technology, my wish is, if I have that technology, we should be turning around the entire cycle within 1 month or 2 months. Then it gets faster to reach out to the market, and then you can always switch, you can always turn, calibrate the product again, whether it's working or not. So today, one of the challenges that we face is because of our technology and the way we set up the whole entire system end to end is just slowing down the entire process. So technologies today, if you look at China, for example, you know, how they come up with the product, although this is non-live actually, but if we can do the same for live or family takaful, I would love to have this. Then we can design a product and can launch the products to the market as fast and as early as possible.
In my perspective on this, right, especially the earlier one, the takaful, the earlier one, if we can change the way we do things, take things slower, rather than push to come up with the product. So at the end of the day, the impact will be the flexibility that Man mentioned lah, you know. So kita nak come out, so the product been designed, or the system be designed so inflexible, so it's make it difficult, right? So I think, you know, if we can have really careful, you know, think about what next and everything. So I think if we can turn that clock back, I think giving extra time to develop the first system will make the difference nowadays, right? And with that, you know, we can plan for the future better. And because, you know, this is long-term punya business, right? I'm talking about the 20-30 years, you know, even in insurance, in the takaful, same thing. So it's very critical, right? Because to make sure that no issue in the future, tak ada drip lah, apa benda lah. That's what been experienced by most of the company. Bila kita nak tukar new system pun, you know, it's been very difficult, right? To do the conversion also very difficult. Cuma one thing, right? I mean, when we talk about takaful here, I need to go back to the unserved or underserved, right? Why kita ni takaful has always been putting into the limelight, tolong, you know, underserved, right? So, and at the end of the day, for so many years, as far as I can recall, being in the industry, you know, we tried so many things, but it's not sustainable. So at the end of the day, you know, either the company or the government need to fund it, but we forgot the bracket of the potential customer up there can make us, you know, make the company make more profit to support the underserved one. Because, you know, we come up with a new product, a new system, you know, to cater for this, but it's not sustainable. And for the shareholder perspective, as I mentioned earlier, it's not good for them, right? So I think this is something that in the optic that we need to change, you know, looking into the, you know, at the same time look into focus on the, you know, like people in this audience, they are all T20 or T15 now, right? You know, to come up with it, and then with that extra surplus or whatever, we can help the needy. Yeah, that's my comment.
Yeah, I think all have been said, but probably just to put the angle into the right context. Personally, I feel that what will make things more easier and ideal for the company will always be the ability to have the right speed to market. So in terms of either onboarding of the customer, serving the customer, and also finally giving the fruit of the takaful contract. So looking at where have been always causing the choke or the shock to the company is always the inability to compete because of the time to market is low as compared to other players. Be it at the onboarding, then will slow down the ability to get more customers, or even worse, if the servicing became issue, then again, the sustainability of whatever size prior to such incident happened, then will cause things to be going backward instead of moving forward. But just on top of that, trying to go beyond technology, I think another part which I think if I could realize it will be very much fantastic for the industry is the ability to align with the organization that has been there in the community, which is very synonymous to helping people. For example, in our community, we have the council, religious council, they are involved with the people on the ground, the real experience of the real help, where they involved in the Salat Janazah, they involved with the collection of the help for the people, they involved with the digging out the grave whenever the neighbors within the vicinity pass away. But if they, we cannot connect to them the fact or the beauty of Takaful, where it will chip in with the help rightfully, even to the size of whatever being affordable to the different level of people. So it's very difficult for us to struggle with the means that we have been doing so far without their help. So that's why I think a lot of efforts, but it's still, after 40 years, still don't come to the level that we are well aligned. Whereas, objectively, we are trying to put forward and bring on top to the people who have the same belief to respond to Takaful as how they believe about halal haram in their daily life. That probably on top of that. Thanks.
So I'm sorry if you have not finished and I just grabbed the mic from you. What I'm hearing is this. The question is simple. What would you have done differently? Basically, that's it, to reach the underserved market. And what I'm hearing is actually two things and one thing which is unsaid. And the two things are basically streamlined processes. Streamlined processes is one. The second thing that was clearly said just now is use of technology or optimum use of technology. But what is not said is that all these three on the panel here are operating on a leverage. No, except for one. Or two. Two are operating on a leverage model, and being on a leverage model, the decision of technology may not rest with them. So it is always easy for one to say, oh, we will use the latest technology, we will streamline processes, but then again, whether or not they are in the driver's seat is something else. Azman alluded to changing the way in which products are launched from ideation, and he cited examples in China. I can relate with that statement, especially after seeing how Zhong'an has done it. Among the things that they have done, and this is I'm just summarizing for Hassan's records purposes. One thing they've done is they adopt agile development in all projects. Every team member is trained in project management, project planning, project implementation. They have cross-functional teams, so which means that in that team, they do not have to go through layers of approval, passing the paper around for okay. It's just that everybody sits together and everybody decides on real time. The other thing that they do is that the ideation starts from the customer, so the whole approach is on delivering the customer needs as fast as possible. They are very free with their technology investments. Sometimes it's not their own. Most times they collaborate with outside parties, and they have what is called as a minimum viable product. When they design a product, they look at being as minimalist as possible so that it can go out faster, and there are less risk management issues to address. They work on standardization and templates. And then, of course, throughout the whole process, there is the Deming cycle being applied, which is the plan, do, check, and act. So this goes on. And for your information, I know of one Takaful company here, one Takaful operator here, who has as a turnaround a 1 month ideation to product. And I understand that they have launched 2 new family products within that 1 month. But of course, like I said, the products are minimalist in nature. But still, if we were to go through the traditional process, that would probably take about 3 months. Okay, any questions from the floor? Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Khanat. So I come from a conventional background. I've worked in IT for over 14 years in insurance, held a number of roles, including CIO of different country operations. I'm also a student at INSIF, so I'm making my personal migration to Takaful. So Takaful, technology and insurance is a very close topic for me. What I've observed is often there is a lot of excitement about technology, and if that excitement isn't targeted, it can cost a lot, right? And so the question is, in your opinion, where have you seen the most ROI on technology investments, and what's the expectation of the time horizon of that ROI? Because often, a platform will cost 2, 3, 4 million ringgit even, but you won't see the volume, you won't see the onboarding, the new business until maybe 6, 8 years later, because you're doing a new product launch as well. And so then, is that the right use of technology? So in whichever aspect of the operation you look at, technology ROI becomes difficult to prove, and so it ends up being an investment where you're building fancy tools, but is it really driving the business? And so I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I've been exploring the Malaysian market and the Takaful operators. I'm seeing a lot of the direct channel online where you can go and buy your quote to buy to issue journey, but there's a 10% discount. So does that hurt your business, or does it help actually?
Okay. So once you give the answer, it will help them pitch for the next job.
Okay. I try to answer this in the maybe in the different context to get everybody to look at it. It's beyond the business purpose, right? So of course, business is one thing, right? To grow the business, but on the other hand, with the current aggressiveness of the requirement of the security, right? So that kind of expectation of having this tool, just to bring in business, become to do something together to ensure that we are covered as far as the security is concerned. I'm talking about the ITRS here, the cyber security in particular, right? So I think you're right. It's difficult to convert that into the specific ROI. Let's say you want to go into certain channel, create a new system, regardless, for agency, banca, or even a direct channel, right? But at the same time, the requirement of the regulation, right? Especially like I'm from the work with the foreign multinational company. We have to observe local guideline, but at the same time also to observe the more stringent guideline from the parent company, right? So more often than not, the investment on the IT, it's a bit difficult to translate that into the RI, but rather to ensure the current risk that we are facing, whether we like it or not, right? And of course, not to mention some of the guidelines come into the picture, like MFRS 17 and all those things. It's never ending, right? So yeah, it is still. We need to evolve. We need to change that, right? Either the context of engage the customer directly to offer the product directly, or even to use it as operational efficiencies for the intermediaries, to have a conversation with the customers or potential customers, right? And in my context, on the discount that you mentioned just now, the 10%, if there is no other intermediaries, it's still okay, because normally the product been priced, having some form of so-called commission that intermediaries, so that portion we give it discount to the customer on that perspective. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting questions about ROI, right? My perspective may be a bit different, actually. The thing is, it depends on how fast you want your ROI. It's just a normal investment, right? It means that you got to know what products you're going to push to the market. That's number one. Number two, you must understand who your market segment is. Who's going to buy your product? Right? Because at the end of the day, if you sell your products today, via normal traditional channel like agency force, it's going to take about 7 to 8 years, the break-even year. We all know that. But don't forget, within that 7, 8 years, you've got a distribution cost, which is quite heavy. You know, if you talk about investment link today, I think those days 6 years, right? And I think still maybe 10 years now under the new MA. Traditional product is about 171% commission alone. Okay? So you're talking about, and you're paying all this commission for the next 6 to 10 years. It depends on your product design. Saving all this, and you design your product, where is going to be your cost saving? Where are you going to put your money in terms of investing into the system? And who is going to be your market? And what is going to be your product to sell? This is where the critical decisions needed by the board, by the management, and you got to think through all that. You know, then you know what to launch, what not to launch, what to design, what not to design. Because if you try to design your product, like, I'm sorry to say, like for example, you copy agency product, which requires a lot of advisory, if I can call, right? And you put it on the system, you're going to fail. You got to think, how do I turn around the entire engagement between yourself and the system or the sellers, maybe in a matter of 5 minutes? You got to think about, like for example, when banks are selling credit cards, banks are selling loans. Why is it so fast? And why is it, are you selling insurance? It's taking like half an hour, 45 minutes. So that's the key. That's my view. That's my view. So if you want to make your digital channel or technology-based distribution channel work, you got to think around that.
If I can summarize some of what I've caught from the other speakers is that if you're talking about technology, investment, ROI, the traditional or the easy ones are cost saving, revenue growth, customer experience. That's what I'm hearing. But more difficult would be the quality things. And by quality things, I mean what are the efficiency gains? Because you need to measure, before and after. What are the efficiency gains? Improve accuracy. Very few organizations these days measure wastage. The time that's spent to correct mistakes and all that kind of things. And then also enhance decision making. How do you, with the new technology, is there enough data that makes decision making more accurate, more faster, as well as a time frame for evaluation? And I think what is also not, well, we all know, but we're not doing enough, is the analysis of the other intangibles as well. Like for example, brand recognition. With the new technology investment, things are becoming more efficient. You have growth. You have a better customer experience. If you're measuring customer experience, then how do you measure brands? Do you leave it to SRM or whoever it is, Nielsen, to do the survey for you, to look at the enhanced brand recognition? And how do you measure employee satisfaction from the new investment as well. And as we know, with new technology coming in, there's a relearning process. People go through pains and headaches to relearn, to redo new things. Are they happier? Does it matter? So those are the other things which, if you're able to show to the management or to whoever you are pitching to, that will greatly help your case. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Sheila from Malaysian Life Re Takaful Window. By the way, Datuk, the fastest I've seen on product implementation is 4 days. Yeah. So my question is, we tend to talk about product as enabler to increase Takaful penetration among the low income, underserved. However, don't forget we already have pendidikan tenang. We even have free coverage such as MySalam. And in most cases, they leverage and rely a lot on technology and digital distribution. But the biggest challenge, actually, from my personal view, is actually the digital approach itself rather than product. So the question is, how do you think this digital distribution or digital approach have progressed over the years? How fast do you think it will continue to progress in the future? And do you still think that digital is the way to go, or that hybrid omni-channel could be a better approach? Thank you.
Okay. Actually, that question mirrors my third question. So can I just go to that question instead? Because according to my watch, we have another 10 minutes before the host shuts off the light, you know, or shuts off the microphone. My question, which is quite similar to the one that's asked, is in MTA's Hijrah 2027, and that is their 3-year strategic plan. In their launch kit, it was said that only a few Takaful operators have implemented digital service programs, digital service platforms. And there is a need to raise digital adoption amongst TOs. And it was also said that there is a need to further develop digital channels to improve customer engagement. So my question to the panel here is, can the panel share what you are doing in this respect, each individual company, what we can learn from the conventional market, locally and globally, how things will change in 2025? I think that's quite similar to your question as well.
Thanks, Ratu, and thanks for the interesting question. I think that is one of the aims of the Takaful operators, to actually expand the digital as a mean to speed up the delivery of product or distribution of the product, and also delivery of the services. So in the context of the question by Dato', I think what are being done by the members, I think a lot. I think each company has been doing it in different format. Probably I'm speaking on behalf of the company that I'm in now. We are doing various things. Of course, to start sharing about it, we have tried exactly what mentioned by one of the audience that raised the question about what ROI just now, mentioning about putting product or plans in the website and waiting for people to subscribe. It didn't work, or at least it didn't work the way we want. Then we embark on collaborating with individuals who are interested to become referrals. So of course, it will incur some costs for it, but not at the same level like how it is being structured in the cost level for the conventional distribution model of agency. So it's ranging between 3 to 5%. So it improved slightly, but again, not to what we thought it will give us. Then we diversify by collaborating with organization where we, again going back to what I've shared before, we have been aiming to seal a deal with the organization that has connection with the people on the ground. So we targeted the Majlis Agama, Yayasan Wakaf. So we launched a product with collaboration, in collaboration with Yayasan Wakaf. Then it improved a bit. The same thing, I think we also seal a deal with a few organizations like PTPT and Tabung Haji. It further improved. So I will say in overall, that channel has to start, and we have started, but need to be further nurtured and diversify the approach so it will continue to be better. If I compare the moment that I'm talking now with 3, 4, 5 years back, I think we are far better than at that point in terms of having some traction. But is it something that we could say satisfied? It's far from that also. But we have to begin somewhere. So that's my point.
Digital innovation, I think, is something that we cannot avoid, right? Right. The question is, to what extent and how we want to work on it. Personally, at least for the next few years, I don't know exactly how is it. We still, I personally think that it's still a challenge if, let's say, we want to invest on digital platform, go direct to the customer. No, it won't. It won't be. We don't get the ROI what we wanted. But the development should be more on, bridge the gap with the company, the intermediaries, as well as the customer. So this is critical. So whether we like it or not, we need to embark into that, right? So that's what we're doing. So improvising that, how make it simple, simplified. It's easier for both customers as well as to the intermediaries, because this is probably the model, the business that we are doing, right? Going indirect, I think we have learned the lesson as an organization to invest on this. Maybe not the right timing, right? Maybe not the right product. Who knows, right? But still, people, don't wake up in the morning or before you sleep. You want to buy, insurance or Takaful. Some class of the insurance and Takaful works very well, right? But you cannot make it as simple, as same as like a normal protection and everything. But it works very well for the travel Takaful, right? Because of the triggered basis kind of event, right? The rest of the product, I personally believe that the improvement of digital is very important. How can we innovate, around it? And of course, moving forward, as equal to Dato just now mentioning about 25 and above and beyond, So eventually, reaching directly to the customers, either, offering the product as well as servicing the customers is actually eminent. It is a matter of time. When is it, right? So that will be my point of view.
Okay, I think Dato asked us what we are doing today, right? I think for Takaful Malaysia, first of all, we are at disadvantage when it comes to family because we don't have agency force. That's number one. But we have to turn disadvantage into advantage actually. So we don't have channel conflict. That's number one. But then you got to have a disruptive mindset. Number one. Number two. And then you look at the market today. All of us are feeling the pressure of high inflation. Everything's getting more and more expensive. And sadly to say, I think that puts the pressure on the spending for insurance or Takaful. Naturally, people just lapse it. Okay? Then there is an opportunity there for you to make a penetration, to take advantage of that, or to build around it. So as for us, we have already started that journey. I think you know our brand, our new brand, Kautim brand. And we are having good traction at the moment, which I cannot share, you know. But the thing is, like I said, it goes back to your customer's experience, what you want to build. You know, because at the end of the day, going forward, right, some people still believe in agency. Yes, you still need agency force, definitely. But you look at the next generation, they are a bit more impatient. They want everything fast. And they want cheap, affordable. So you got to manage around it. You know, so I strongly believe in my capacity at the moment. I strongly believe going direct to the market is something that we must consider, because consumers today, they need to save a lot of money. You know, so this is what we are doing today, inshallah. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you. And I think more can be done in optimizing the digital technologies if there are also some relaxation of certain rules. Like, for example, to reach out to customers, wouldn't it be nice if you are able to really optimize on big data? But you can't, because there are privacy issues. You can't. You know, so you can't go and mine other people's database to get their details for you to reach out. You can't mine their medical records to, sensitive issue today. You can't mine their profile, their habits to customize products for them. If you have the capacity to customize products and not just sell off-the-shelf products. So there are some challenges which needs to be addressed, but I understand that the authorities are looking at that. And certainly once the roadblocks are taken out, the use of technology would be more clearly seen. But the other thing is that I think digital technology can be better felt and better experienced on the general Takaful side. You know, because there are everyday things and everyday matters that can be put to use. For example, motor insurance, motor Takaful and insurance forms about 52-53% of the total general insurance and general Takaful sales. And there are what we call as a phase 2B or a phase 2A or phase 2B of the de-tariffication of the tariff that requires general Takaful operators and insurers to put in place to use technology to enhance the customer experience, use of drones and all that. But that is clearly not being seen yet, although the target for completion is middle of this year. But anyway, thank you for the question. If there are, and we're already at 12:30 and that's lunchtime, and I don't want to stop you to be in between you and lunch, but we can take one more question from the floor. Yeah, Ravin.
Yeah, I'm Ravinder, 30 years a reinsurer with Swiss Re and Hannover Re, and the last 5 years I left the industry because frustrated that we have not solved the protection gap. The 60% Malaysians who need insurance the most don't get it. I think as an industry we fail. I'm part of the problem. Great, we talk about legends after 40 years, but the job is not finished. Every day, 550 Malaysians die, 300 no protection. Yeah, so, you know, we are here now 3 hours, 100 have died without protection. So really, we need to do something about it. And yes, agency and bank assurance will stay here for good, no doubt about it. Nothing to be scared about. Digital will not eat your pie. It's shown everywhere in the world. And but we still need to address it, because I'm sure most of us here, sitting here, would not want to buy a policy from an agent or bank. We don't buy. So why do we expect our customers to buy when we don't buy? We would rather buy online. We are knowledgeable, we know it. We don't want to pay. So the reality is we have 150,000 agents. and the industry pays them 6 billion a year. 6 billion to 150,000 agents. We pay bank assurance 2 billion. Every year we are paying 8 billion to this group of people. Are they helping penetration? Debatable. We can use some of that money. We talk about orphan surplus. We can use part of that money. Channel it to people who deserve it. Who are people who deserve it? Maybe our agriculture people, 1.7 million. I can provide protection for them for 30 million a year.
Thank you.
Yes, I can provide them. 30 million a year, we can do a solution. First year, we get them on board free. Through government, federal, state, whatever. Maybe their own organizations pay a bit. We get them on board the first year. We get them onto the platform. It's free, so they come on board. Second year, small fee. They can afford it. Few ringgit a month, everybody can afford. We can do that. It's not so bad. Who else there are? Blood donors. We have 700,000 people every 2 months go and give blood. It's scary. They are heroes. They are saving lives. Every person give blood, save 3 people. We can give them coverage. Through all these funds, I'm not saying giving people who don't deserve it, sit on their backsides and complain. No, we don't give them money. We don't give them anything. There are others who are contributing. Organ donors. 300,000 Malaysians have donated their organs to save 8 lives. We can do something for them. Get them on board. Perhaps that's what we should do. Every time you pledge your organ, you get some coverage, free. Takaful. The dream would be every Malaysian has a Takaful policy. We want to export to the rest of the world. We do it to our own Malaysians first. Every Malaysian is ready to buy a Takaful policy. You're Muslim or not Muslim, you are ready. You just we haven't taken it in a friendly way to them. Once we do, they will buy. I promise you, we can do it. We can start in Malaysia.
Thank you, Ravin. That was our 4th panelist, right? And he's very passionate. He's very passionate about social takaful. And if you have time, please spend time over lunch to listen to him more. There are really schemes that he's working on that will actually make a difference. So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this session. I hope, I'm so sorry that I'm only able to pose 3 questions to them. Actually, I've got like 24 questions here, but that will take us the rest of the evening. But please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in thanking the 3 panelists. A big hand to them, please.